How in the world are we going to power the massive AI data centers of tomorrow? It's a staggering question, right? I mean, as artificial intelligence grows at this explosive rate, so does its appetite for electricity. We're looking at a near future where our traditional power grids just might not be able to keep up with the reliable, massive, and clean energy demands of these high-tech hubs. We urgently need a zero-carbon, always-on solution. And honestly, we need it soon.
Well, welcome to this explainer. Today, we're diving into a genuinely fascinating technological frontier, how advanced microreactors could actually act as localized portable batteries for the AI boom. To wrap our heads around this multi-trillion-dollar opportunity, we're going to use two major contenders as our case studies today, Oklo and Nano nuclear energy. Okay, let's dive into this. Here's a quick look at our roadmap for today. We'll start with AI's nuclear power solution, compare Oklo versus Nano nuclear, look at Oklo the premium heavyweight, then Nano nuclear the challenger, break down the financials and risks, and finally look at the future of microreactors.
Section 1. AI's nuclear power solution.
So, the reality of AI is that it requires just a staggering amount of reliable, uninterrupted electricity. That's exactly where small modular reactors, or SMRs, and microreactors come into play. Now, these aren't your grandpa's massive, sprawling nuclear plants. No, these are incredibly compact, highly advanced systems designed to actually be built in factories and deployed directly at data center sites. They're emerging as this perfect, zero-carbon, always-on solution, mainly because they provide reliable baseload power exactly where it's needed, completely independent of the weather or, traditional grid constraints.
Section 2. Oklo versus Nano nuclear. This is a fascinating industry showdown. It's essentially a classic David versus Goliath narrative playing out right in front of us. And this brilliantly illustrates the contrast. On one side, you have Oklo, commanding this massive premium valuation with a $12.5 billion market cap. And they're backed by star-studded tech partnerships. On the flip side is the challenger, Nano nuclear energy, sitting at a much smaller market cap of around $834.9 million. Both are totally pre-revenue today. But here's the kicker. While Oklo leans heavily into its big tech network, Nano nuclear is taking a much more holistic, vertically integrated approach to the entire nuclear supply chain.
Section 3. Oklo, the premium heavyweight. Oklo is designing a small nuclear reactor they call the Aurora Powerhouse. But what really sets them apart right now is their incredible roster of partners. They've got early backing from OpenAI CEO Sam Altman, plus major partnerships with tech giants like Meta, Switch, Equinix, and NVIDIA. To put that potential into perspective, the energy demand from just Meta, Switch, and Equinix equates to a massive 14 gigawatts of power. If Oklo were to supply all of that, it would literally require about 187 full-sized Aurora powerhouses. That 14 gigawatt backlog translates into some truly eye-watering numbers. If we assume Oklo's target price range of $40 to $90 per megawatt hour, that backlog represents a potential annual revenue pipeline of $4.9 billion to an absolutely staggering $11 billion. This massive future revenue potential is exactly what investors are pointing to justify Oklo's current premium valuation, even though, they haven't actually generated a single dime of revenue just yet.
Section 4. Nano nuclear, the challenger.
Now, let's flip the script and look at our challenger. They might not have Sam Altman backing them, but Nano nuclear is making some serious waves of its own. Just recently, they signed a memorandum of understanding with Supermicrocomputer to explore powering AI and high-performance computing data centers. This is a crucial signal. It actually proves that major enterprise customers are eager to explore Nano's technology today, even before they've reached final regulatory approval. What really differentiates Nano nuclear, though, is their ambitious strategy to own the entire process. They aren't just designing reactors like their Kronos, Zeus, and Loki models. They are actively trying to solve the industry's biggest bottlenecks by vertically integrating the whole shebang. They're building subsidiaries for nuclear fuel fabrication, customized field transportation, and they're even exploring nuclear applications for space. They basically want to be a one-stop shop for the entire microreactor ecosystem. Now, to understand why that integration is absolutely critical, we have to talk about HALO. HALO stands for High-Assay Low-Enriched Uranium. Basically, it's uranium-enriched, so the U-235 isotope is between 5 and 19.9%. So why does this matter to us? Well, because this specific, highly efficient fuel is required for these smaller advanced reactors to get a massive amount of power out of a very tiny footprint. To secure this critical fuel, Nano nuclear is strategically collaborating with LIS Technologies to help reinvigorate the domestic uranium supply chain. Now, what's really interesting about this strategic shift is how agile nanonuclear is proving to be. They recently signed a letter of intent to sell their low-pressure coolant reactor design, known as Odin, to Cambridge Atom Works for $6.2 million plus future royalties. This isn't just about cashing a quick check, it's a major pivot. By offloading Odin, Nano is streamlining its focus entirely onto its flagship gas-cooled designs, primarily the Kronos reactor, which should really maximize their developmental and regulatory efficiency.
Section 5, Financial Realities and Risks. Okay, looking impartially at Nanonuclear's current financial snapshot, we see a stock price hovering around $16, giving them that market cap of roughly $835 million. But the key takeaway here is their balance sheet. While they currently have $0 in trailing revenue, which, by the way, is totally standard for a company in this developmental phase, they boast a very robust cash and short-term investment position of nearly $569 million. That gives them the vital runway needed to fund their intense research, development, and upcoming construction phases. And looking at how Wall Street is digesting all of this, the consensus definitely leans bullish right now. According to recent analyst ratings for NNE, there are currently 4 buy ratings, 2 holds, and absolutely 0 sells. Furthermore, analysts have projected a median price target of $45 for Nanonuclear. Compared to its current price, that implies an upside of roughly 177%. However, and this is important, it is vital to remember that these are forward-looking estimates. We are talking about a nascent industry with monumental execution and regulatory risks ahead. Getting a nuclear reactor approved and built is neither quick nor easy, and both Oklo and Nano definitely face an uphill battle. Section 6. The future of microreactors. Let's move along and see how this timeline builds out for Nanonuclear. Their regulatory process is actually moving surprisingly fast. In March 2026, the University of Illinois Urbana-Champaign submitted a construction permit application for a prototype of Nano's Kronos reactor. By May, the U.S. Nuclear Regulatory Commission, or NRC, formally accepted the application for review. Now, if this roughly 12-month review goes smoothly, Nano is targeting mid to late 2027 to actually begin initial construction. And this official acceptance by the NRC is a massive, historic milestone. It essentially makes Nanonuclear the first commercially ready microreactor developer to reach this critical formal review stage with the NRC for a university deployment. It really validates the maturity of their design and sets those regulatory wheels in motion. So, the crucial point is perfectly summarized by Nanonuclear's CEO, James Walker. By selling off unrelated tech and focusing on a shared foundational design for their core reactors, they are intentionally improving manufacturability and regulatory efficiency. In an industry where first-of-a-kind engineering can lead to massive cost overruns, streamlining the underlying architecture is their primary defense mechanism to protect investor value. We are literally witnessing the birth of a brand new energy sector, one that might just be the linchpin for the entire future of artificial intelligence. So the question we want to leave you with today is this: will these microreactors ultimately unlock the true potential of the AI revolution? And in the high-stakes race between Oklo and Nanonuclear, which contender do you think will cross the commercial finish line first? It's going to be a fascinating journey to watch unfold. Thanks for joining us on this explainer, and keep learning.